Who comes to mind when you hear the word philosopher? I bet those are Socrates, Plato, Nietzsche, Marcus Aurelius takes extra popularity nowadays. And that's not occasionally. These philosophers are most influential. Some of them invented philosophy itself and got the strongest position in world culture. But there was one who gave us incredibly interesting ideas, but almost nobody knows about him. His name is Hryhorii Skovoroda. Ukrainian philosopher whose ideas about happiness, purpose, freedom and self-discovery feel surprisingly modern, who rejected wealth, status and power. A philosopher who spent much of his life walking from village to village, carrying almost nothing. He knew why people suffer on their destination. Ideas that might be so relevant today than ever before. Most of his life, Hryhorii Skovoroda lived in Ukraine that was under Russian Empire at that time. Rarely to people who live these days, he even traveled across Europe. From early years was demonstrated extraordinary curiosity, studied languages, theory, literature, music. Was not only a philosopher but also a poet, teacher, writer and musician. As they say, a talented person is talented in many things. Despite his exceptional education and opportunities to build traditional successful careers, Skovoroda chose what he meant freedom. For much of his life, he lived as a wandering philosopher, traveling on foot, teaching people, having conversations and writing about life. This philosopher is often compared to Socrates, not because he copied Socrates, because both men believed that wisdom matters more than status. Central idea of his philosophy stands for question, who are you really? Know yourself. This idea originally comes from ancient Greece and successfully was continued. He believed that self-knowledge is the foundation of a good life. Who are you really? Not who your parents want you to be, nor who society expects you to become. Most human suffering starts from living against our nature. People choose careers they hate, follow goals they never truly wanted, chase someone else's definition of success. And then they wonder why they feel empty. We better know what's on celebrities' mind and what politicians think. In the end, to accept our own feelings getting much more difficult. The more you understand yourself, the harder to be manipulated. We no longer need constant approval from others. The idea of related work is prominent in his vision. Related work means that everybody has a natural inclination, a role, calling. The tragedy of life is not that people fail. The tragedy is that many people spend their entire lives trying to become someone they were never meant to be. One of the best examples comes from his philosophical fable collection called the Hryhorii Fables. In the fables, the bee and the hornet, Skovoroda compares two different ways of living. The bee works tirelessly collecting nectar and creating honey. The hornet, on the other hand, consumes what others produce. The hornet cannot understand why the bee works so hard. To him it looks unnecessary. But the bee explains that her work is not merely a way to survive. It is her nature. She works because she was born for it, and in that work she finds joy. Skovoroda uses this story to explain that true fulfillment comes when our actions align with our natural calling. The bee is happy not because she receives rewards. She is happy because she is doing what she was meant to do. He lived a wandering lifestyle for many years, traveling across the territories of modern Ukraine. He visited villages, estates and small towns, staying with friends, students or sympathetic landowners. Because of this, he is often called a wandering philosopher or traveling teacher. A central feature of his lifestyle was rejection of materialism. He didn't seek wealth, luxury or social status. Skovoroda believes that excessive attachment to material things distracted people from inner freedom and self-knowledge. He lived very simply, often with minimal personal belongings and didn't depend on stable income. There are historical accounts suggesting that he preferred a very simple daily routine. He often walked long distances, carried few possessions and spent a lot of time in nature. He was known for playing the flute and enjoying music, which he considered an important part of emotional and spiritual balance. He avoided excessive comfort and routine stability, preferring flexibility and independence in how he structured his time. That was his own kind of freedom. The world tried to catch me, but didn't succeed. These words are written on his grave, and they perfectly summarize his life. The world offered him status, comfort and recognition, but he refused to become trapped by them, to instead be happy.